Now, knowing you, I know that you're aware of the things that people are saying. You're moving up in two weight classes. You're the smaller man. Whatever you do, Terence Crawford, don't exchange against them. What do you feel you have to do?
Be myself. I'm 41-0 for a reason.
Mayweather was undefeated for the last
0 record stood as an untouchable benchmark in boxing. Known for his impenetrable defense and ability to make elite opponents look ordinary, Mayweather was widely considered unbeatable. But then came a night that changed the conversation. A fighter who would face both Mayweather and his supposed successor made a bold claim that shook the boxing world. The debate shifted from who was a superior boxer to whether Mayweather's entire era had just been eclipsed. The controversy ignited the moment Terence Crawford's hand was raised in victory over Canelo Alvarez, following a performance that few believed was even possible.
Crawford is the best fighter on the planet. Pound for pound, he's that dude. In this 4-belt era, he is now the undisputed world champion 3 times over. 140 pounds, 147, now 168 pounds, claiming all the belts. You don't see people doing that very often. Going up against a guy who was perceived as being bigger and stronger, Crawford was strong. Crawford was strong enough to fend him off, strong enough to make him respect his own power. He used his jab, he used his distance. He had poise in the ring, he wasn't rattled. He backed up and moved when necessary and kept us different. He exchanged enough to gain respect when necessary. It was a brilliant, brilliant, masterful fight.
However, came during the post-fight press conference. When journalists pressed Canelo to compare Terence Crawford with his former opponent, Floyd Mayweather, he didn't hesitate, with the global media hanging on his every word. Canelo delivered his response with clarity and conviction.
Contrast the fight between yourself and Floyd Mayweather Jr. and tonight's bout with Terence "Bud" Crawford, if you can.
No, I think Crawford is way better than...
To share the ring with both fighters spoke. It carried more weight than a simple opinion. It was a statement that sent shockwaves through the boxing world. That single remark reignited a long, simmering debate. And it wasn't long before a major voice entered the conversation. Stephen A. Smith, closely following the action, was immediately captivated. Like many observers, he expected Crawford to lean on his technical skills, keeping his distance to outmaneuver the bigger, stronger opponent. But the fight took a very different turn.
Crawford making my prediction come through. Coming into the fight, I had him winning by decision. I thought he was the superior boxer. I thought he would be able to take a punch. And as long as he didn't stay there and exchange with Canelo, I thought he could do it. What surprised me is that there were times during the fight, he did stand there and exchange with Canelo and took it. Took some body shots to the liver. Took some headshots. Exchanged. And still ended up winning this fight. I thought from the 8th round on, he just put on a boxing clinic. They gotta give credit where credit is due.
Expressed his astonishment, not just because Crawford survived the fight, but because he met Canelo head-on, rather than staying on the outside and relying solely on technique. Crawford stood his ground, trading blows and proving he had more than just skill. He had grit and determination. Smith admitted he hadn't expected Crawford to go toe-to-toe with such a physically dominant opponent. But Crawford did just that repeatedly. That earned him a new level of respect. Breaking down the bout, Smith scored 5 rounds to 4 in Crawford's favor after 9 rounds, before Crawford completely took over in the final stretch with a dominant display. He absorbed Canelo's power and responded in ways that would have overwhelmed most fighters his size.
Crawford is a special fighter because he's got a mean streak. He doesn't back up from anything. He's usually the superior boxer in the ring. He finds a way to win. No matter who he's going up against, no matter what power you have, what boxing skills you have, he is truly a generational kind of fighter. He wants to go in the ring and not just beat you, but show you he was a better man. And he's not one who believes that just a knockout does that. He likes outboxing you and showing you that his skill level is superior to yours. And he showed it tonight.
Mayweather has openly acknowledged the fragility of his hands. even revealing that a pre-fight injury kept him from sparring for an entire month leading up to his bout with Conor McGregor.
Undefeated for the last half of his career with one hand. He constantly broke his hand.
Yeah.
He would go into a ring knowing he had no shot at knocking somebody out because his hands were hurt too much. And literally walked in the ring and said, I'm gonna embarrass you and humiliate you by showing the world you can.
Long-standing reports suggest that during the latter stages of his career, Mayweather chose to fight primarily in Las Vegas, one of the few jurisdictions that permitted the use of numbing agents like xylocaine for hand pain. This has led many to believe that his hand issues significantly influence his decisions about when and where to step into the ring. Despite this, he maintained his reputation as an elusive and unbeatable force.
And he says, I'm gonna take him out about the 8th or 9th round. And I said, your hand's always broken. You ain't known for your punching power since you moved up from lightweight to welterweight. Why are you so sure you're gonna do this? He said, Stephen A., he's a UFC fighter. He said, and he's a striker. He's accustomed to coming at you and throwing punches. What he's not accustomed to doing is punching while he's throwing backwards, while he's moving backwards and pushing you off of him. He says, I'm gonna walk right into him and stay in his chest. He's gonna have to push me off in order to throw his punches. He said he's gonna be circling the ring. He said by around 4 or 5, he's not gonna have any legs. He's gonna be done. And he said, I'll just toy with him and keep him around until around the 8th or the 9th round. And that is exactly what Floyd Money Mayweather did. He told me exactly what he was gonna do, and he did it.
Mayweather himself admitted his hands are real brittle and revealed he couldn't even spar for a month before the Conor McGregor fight due to injury.
You hurt your hand? Huh? I thought you hurt your hand. That's myself. Okay. All right. Relax, baby. The job is done. All right. Put in a bucket of ice, man. Yeah. I'll get a bucket of ice.
I'm saying Shane hit me with a hell of a shot. Okay. Actually, 2 shots.
Oh, okay.
But even in that particular round, what I said to Shane was this. I was like,
you dead self said something to him when you grabbed him.
I said, you gotta kill me.
Oh shit. I wasn't ready, bro. I
said that was a good one. And I said that was a good one, but you gotta kill me.
Wow.
I said, you gotta kill me. And did I mean I'm not gonna lie.
Greg Hackett echoed this perspective, noting that the Floyd Mayweather who fought Canelo was a fully polished fighter, calm, calculated, and technically perfect. In contrast, Crawford brought a more unorthodox and unpredictable style to the ring.
Rocky Marciano was 49-0. Before Floyd got to 50-0, he was a heavyweight champ. Did anyone ever consider Rocky Marciano the GOAT? No, not seriously, no. Why would Floyd be considered the GOAT? Because he beat more fighters than Rocky did, more great ones? That's true. But really, Floyd was careful in the way he selected opponents. Don't get that twist. It's not that Floyd didn't fight a lot of great fighters. He did. It's not that I don't think he would have beaten a lot of the tougher fighters than he fought. I think he probably would have. But he didn't do it. He waited. He waited till Pacquiao wasn't at his best anymore. He didn't fight Margarito when Margarito was tearing everyone up. He waited for the right time to fight people. He got paid twice as much for fighting Pacquiao in a less dangerous fight than he would have had he fought him when everyone wanted to see him fight. Floyd is among the all-time greats, but he ain't number one.
This view was echoed by trainer Greg Hackett, who argued that the Floyd who fought Canelo was a complete fighter with an unshakable, polished style, contrasting it with Crawford's wilder approach.
I can't say he capping. I can't, because I don't know what he felt. But when I heard that, what I think is, when Floyd beat me, I was 23, I wasn't polished. When Bud beat me, I was the man. I was the man. And he beat me fair and square. He beat me at my game and he beat me at his game. That's why Canelo said that. Do I believe that? It's tough to believe. But I can only take Canelo's word because he's the man that's been in the ring with both of them. But I understand why he said it. I was a kid when I fought Floyd. He wasn't a kid literally, but he was young. He was young. There was a lot he didn't know. There was a lot he didn't understand about boxing that he later on learned and got better. But Bud beat the better version of me, even though it's the ran down version. I'm saying that because it is some wear and tear there with Canelo. I've been saying it the whole time. When a guy got almost 70 fights in current time, with all those big camps he's been doing and all that, trust me, it's some wear and tear there. I'm not making excuses for Canelo. I'm just saying.
I don't know. That's what it gives it that air.
I also think you got to remember when you talking about a Mexican fighter, they big on punishment. He might also feel Crawford punches harder than Floyd and took more chances than Floyd took. Floyd really was super speed that night. Everything speed, and it irritated Canelo because Canelo couldn't do what he wanted to do, and he looked nothing like himself. Like I said, I think it was just times where Canelo felt like, damn, I could have had him. With Floyd, I think he felt like paralyzed. Like, damn, I can't catch this motherfucker. He's too fast. But with Crawford, I felt like he maybe was saying, damn, I could have, if I would have threw this, or if I would have did that. You know what I mean? Because it was times Crawford sat there and caught a punch and countered back. You know what I'm saying? He let Canelo throw, like, go ahead, throw your shit. He caught that shit, boom, and come right back with the hook. The same shot he caught Earl with. He was touching Canelo with some of that same shit, man. And it was just like, and it was times where Crawford was imposing himself on Canelo. He was stepping to Canelo at times. He didn't do it the whole fight, but I'm just saying it was times he stepped to him. Floyd did too, but Floyd just was so fast, so much faster. And the education was like totally different. Like when Canelo fought Floyd, Canelo was in middle school. He wasn't even, you know what I'm saying? Floyd by that time was already.
Stephen A. Smith summed it up this way.
I think that Floyd Mayweather was such a magician defensively. And we have to look at Floyd Money Mayweather in this regard. Once he moved up to welterweight, his hands were always damaged. So he kind of knew he wasn't going to be able to knock you out for the most part. And still, he walked into the ring and put on masterful performances because he was so superior, skill-wise and defensively. You can't say enough. Tonight with Crawford, for example, we saw him take a punch on several occasions. With Floyd, we didn't see that too often because you couldn't hit him.
Crawford stood out by taking Canelo's punches head-on, demonstrating impressive durability and toughness. But what truly distinguished him from Floyd, in Stephen A.'s view, was his need to prove that resilience. Before the debate escalated, many pointed out a key fact. These fighters belong to different generations. It's not just a matter of skill, but also of the era they represent. Even Terence Crawford showed respect, acknowledging Floyd as the best of his time while expressing confidence that he is the best of his own.
It's what else?
It's everything. He got everything. And I'm coming to get it.
When you beat him, you'll have everything.
Highlighting that greatness isn't a simple measure. It's deeply connected to the era in which a fighter competes. The comparison becomes even more complicated when factoring in age. Floyd's uncle, Jeff Mayweather, noted that Floyd was already 36 and beyond his prime when he faced a younger Canelo, making it difficult to directly compare that matchup to a prime Terence Crawford taking on a more seasoned Canelo.
You know, Canelo that time was a razor-thin decision. Floyd won, majority decision. C.J. Ross had it with what a lot of people had as a draw. And then the other two judges scored it for Floyd, of course. And that was a Floyd at the top of his game with a very green Canelo with very little experience, and he still took him, into deep waters. So
yeah, what was Canelo? What, 21, 23, 25?
Yeah, he was. Very, very young in the game, obviously.
Yeah, very young. He had more fights than Floyd, and he lost.
Yeah, but
man, that was 30-something years old, 36.
But Floyd was clearly at the top of his career, and Canelo had fought a lot of people. But
are you at the top of your career in your prime? You're in your prime when you're at 36.
Debate away from a direct comparison, and instead acknowledges both fighters as champions who dominated in distinct periods of boxing history.
Terence Crawford and Floyd Mayweather. We've even had the conversation to go as far as who would win in the fight between Terence and Floyd, and I truly don't know the answer to that question.
I do.
You do?
Yes.
Yeah. Who will win that fight?
Floyd.
Floyd will win that fight.
Yes, sir.
Floyd
love you, Terence.
Always figures it out.
Yeah,
he's a chess master.
Yeah, his IQ in that
The funny thing about it is Terence has been the only other guy that people can say he always figures it out.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's true.
But you gotta have an OG somewhere.
Anybody else? Yeah.
There's an OG
Somebody
somewhere.
got to pioneer, right? Yeah, you got to.
There's an OG you can't out-figure out somewhere, and I just believe Floyd.
And defensive tactics can be complex. One thing stands out clearly. Terence Crawford has achieved a remarkable feat that Floyd Mayweather never managed to accomplish.
He's three division undisputed, moved up 2 divisions to beat Canelo. So he's probably he's accomplished more than Mayweather for sure. Mayweather never became undisputed, but that doesn't mean he's better than Mayweather. I think in a fight at welterweight, Mayweather in his prime would beat Crawford, and Pacquiao in his prime would probably beat Crawford. But Crawford has accomplished more.
To become undisputed champion in 3 separate weight classes. The significance of this achievement was so profound that prominent boxing figure Turki Alashik immediately hailed Crawford as the fighter of the century. To put this into perspective, Floyd Mayweather won titles across 5 weight divisions, but he never held all 4 major belts simultaneously in any single division. In contrast, Crawford dominated 3 weight classes by unifying every major belt, highlighting a major difference in their legacies. This wasn't a stroke of luck. It was a result of meticulous planning. Crawford later revealed that his training camp was exceptionally intense, with his team focusing heavily on building the strength needed to counter everything Canelo could throw at him. This historic milestone cements Crawford's place in boxing history, marking an achievement no other fighter, including Mayweather, has matched by thoroughly dominating multiple divisions. But their careers differed in more ways than just titles. It also came down to the paths they chose. Mayweather was more than just a boxer. He was the CEO of his own brand. As analyst Max Kellerman pointed out, after moving up from lightweight, Mayweather's career became a masterclass in strategic matchmaking. He carefully selected opponents, controlled the timing of his fights, and managed the business side, ensuring that every risk he took was balanced by the reward. This approach hasn't gone without criticism from today's fighters. Rising star Ryan Garcia openly expressed his views, claiming that Mayweather mastered the art of picking and choosing his battles, knowing exactly when to face an opponent and when to steer clear. Garcia even accused him of damaging the sport by avoiding fighters when they were at their absolute peak.
Wild, because if you look at Floyd's resume, it's much deeper than Crawford's. And Floyd was faster and he had a better defense and all that stuff. But Floyd picked and chose when he fought guys, especially once he left lightweight. He wiped out the junior lights, bring him. Lightweight, he jumps up to Jose Luis Castillo first thing. A lot of people think he lost the first fight, I didn't, but then he won the rematch. But once he left lightweight, he was careful about when he fought guys. So even though his resume is deeper with names, people remember, yeah, but he didn't want it with certain dudes.
Willing to face anyone to prove his dominance. When comparing them at their peaks, the numbers speak volumes. Crawford stands an inch taller and, more importantly, boasts a 3-inch reach advantage, an important factor in technical boxing that even a prime Mayweather might have struggled against. His impressive record wasn't built by avoidance. Instead, he actively pursued the best opponents, calling out every top contender for years, showing he feared no one. Alongside that fearless attitude, analysts and former champions also praise his natural physical gifts. As boxing legend Shane Mosley once said,
This kid Ryan Garcia, Tank got his followers from kicking ass. Ryan Garcia got his followers from YouTubers. There's a difference. So you want to be a YouTuber or you want to be a fighter? Tank is a fighter.
How did Gervonta know that my rib got separated while I was in the fight? Or before the fight? How do you think they got the information? You gotta pay. Who do you think told me that they paid? So I know how much money it takes to betray Ryan Garcia.
Crawford is a superior fighter, said Shane Mosley. It would have been a challenging fight, but Crawford's greater reach and larger frame would likely give him the edge over Mayweather. That said, Mayweather still commands immense respect. As Crawford himself acknowledged, Floyd was the best in his era, and now it's Crawford's time to shine.
It would have been a tough fight, but I think Crawford would have the edge over Mayweather because of the long arms and because it's bigger. But Mayweather is definitely a technician. I mean, like Crawford said, Mayweather has his era, and Crawford, this is
fearless warrior, stepping into any ring and asserting control. Yet, not everyone buys into the comparison. Some critics point out that aside from both being great black fighters, their styles couldn't be more different. One analyst was blunt, saying, Terence Crawford is not Floyd Mayweather. They're just both black, and and that's where the similarity ends. These critics emphasize that Crawford thrives on the fight itself, absorbing punches, sticking his tongue out, dropping his hands, and trading blows inside the ring. Mayweather's approach was almost the opposite, relying on speed, precision, and what many consider the highest offensive IQ boxing has ever seen. To them, the comparisons are more hype than reality, fueled by fans eager to crown a new king after Floyd's era. Adding to the intrigue, the Crawford versus Canelo super fight sparked its own controversies. Even before the first bell rang, concerns arose about the judges, as the same officials had overseen the contentious Pacquiao draw, leading to fears they might lean in favor of Canelo. Outside the ring, drama unfolded when popular streamer Aiden Ross, who had placed $1 million bet on Canelo, was accused of insider trading after reportedly switching his wager to Crawford at the last minute following a suspicious phone call.